Welcome to week number 4 of my Limbo journey with Liton. Now, I'm pleased to say I've lost another £3 this week. So in total, I've lost £7 in the last 3 weeks. How's that, Liton? Am I doing okay?
You're doing phenomenally. You know what? When you first weighed in, let's have a look at. I've got your stats written down in front of me. July the 1st. I'm talking in kilograms, not pounds here. I'm afraid.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a down south thing. 126.7 kilograms.
Yeah.
July the 18th, 122.9 kilograms. August the 1st, you're at 121.1. August the 17th, that's today, you're at 119 kilograms.
Yeah.
I'm very pleased to see this progress. Your blood sugar readings are looking fantastic. I'm pretty impressed. I would love to hear how you feel.
You know, the best thing is mentally, this is the first time I've lost weight without focusing on the weight and the scales. You know, the limbo system, it just really pushes me. Whatever happens, I've got to stay in limbo, and that is my only goal, and that is my only focus, which I know if you're not losing weight you have to think about more than that, but at the moment I just feel that is my only goal, and I've just been keeping it really simple. So I'm feeling great, and I think I'm looking good as well. I've had a few compliments.
Good. You are looking good.
Thanks.
It's good that you think as well. So I think that the really interesting thing about getting on those scales is scales have always been about accountability for a lot of people, right? You get on the scales every week and then you go, okay, so I've lost or I've gained or whatever. But then you have to try and do some detective work in your head. You have to try and guess, like, was it this? Was it the weekend blowout? Was it? You just never know. You really don't know what it is. And what you're doing is you're not doing that guesswork anymore. You're not using like you're not just going for a goal. You're focusing much more on a system, which is a day-to-day system, much more manageable. You're focusing on the little things that you do every day to try and get you to your destination. Destination being, well, in my head, I keep thinking about your recreation of your sexy beach photo,
Yeah.
which is coming up in autumn. So I think that little focus on little improvements day to day is phenomenal. And that's what gets people to where they want to get to.
The other thing that I did, I don't know whether you saw on my diary yesterday, I had some Prosecco. So this is the first time I've had any alcohol for 4 weeks. And I knew that obviously Prosecco and dry wine is lower in carbs than other, but on purposely, I had a handful of nuts with this, and that kept me, it did obviously take it up, but it kept me within limbo. So I did that yesterday. I don't know whether you saw that.
You can drink a lot of prosecco and stay in limbo. In fact, you can drink a lot of alcohol and not have your blood sugar spike. However, that doesn't mean you won't necessarily put on weight with it or it won't stop you losing weight because alcohol, first of all, lowers your blood sugar. So you know when in a restaurant you sometimes get handed an aperitif or whatever, you have a
Yeah.
drink before you order anything. It's there to actually make you hungry because it does. Alcohol makes you hungry. So alcohol isn't metabolized as sugar. The carbohydrate content of any drink is, but basically you can take in loads and loads of extra energy without ever noticing it on your monitor on Limbo. So it's a sneaky one. Limbo never tells you not to drink alcohol. It actually kind of it tries to look after you and make sure that you drink enough water and whatever to look
Yeah.
after your kidneys. But that is one thing that I find it catches people out. They start to monitor their blood sugar on whatever device and go, well, I can just drink loads of X because it doesn't spike my blood sugar. If you're drinking a drink that's 12% alcohol, you're still taking in a lot more energy than your body actually wants, and it will try and burn all of this off first because it has to before your stored fat. So that's the thing I would have in mind about that.
Yeah. The other couple of things that I tried this morning, I've been really missing yogurt. So I've gone for the best one, whole yogurt, Greek yogurt, and I had it with some strawberries and some seeds. And that took me up very, very slightly, but on all kept me in limbo, which is great. And then the other thing that I tried this morning was just a cup of tea with just a little bit of milk, and it shot me so high. It took me out of limbo only for about an hour and then back down again. But that just goes to show something like Greek yogurt, that kind of dairy is okay, but milk, anything like that, really does cause a spike.
So the natural sugar that's in milk is what's causing the spike. It's lactose. And that's what's causing a spike. When you ferment the milk and it turns into yogurt, that sugar isn't there so much. There's less of it there, and that's why you have that. But Jody, can we talk about I'd like you to edit in a picture right here, please. Your bowl of strawberries and yogurt. I'd like people to look at your picture and decide whether there's more strawberries or yogurt in that bowl, because when people have strawberries and yogurt, you want to be able to see a bit of white and not just red. There's a lot of strawberries. I'd consider, and I think the feedback you got was, Jody, consider cutting back carbohydrates here. And that would be just because of the sheer amount of lovely, juicy, sugary strawberries you've got on that plate, which have got seeds on top. But I'm a serious point. I'd consider starting to think about this week being more carb conscious. That's a phrase I want you to have in your head, because while we're in this period of, look, let's get your blood sugar normalized and let's start getting you into this more metabolic flexibility mindset, having that many strawberries is kind of, that's a lot of sugar that you're taking in, and it's almost like the yogurt's the dressing for it. So I'd like you to think about being more carbohydrate conscious, which means also when you look at some of the things that you have, little bits of potato, you can get out of the potato habit easier than you know, right? You've got out of plenty of habits before. The potato habit is one that I'd like you to think about. So the phrase for this week is be more carbohydrate conscious.
Okay.
Because that you're absolutely right about what happened with milk versus yogurt. But you're kind of offsetting your yogurt a little bit by taking in that direct energy that your body just, sucks up straight away, and you have the spike and crash, or try to spike and crash. I think what you'll find is your weight loss changes as you start to change proportions of strawberry to yogurt, and then think about that in other meals as well.
Now, the thing with the potatoes yesterday, I haven't had potatoes for weeks, and we had a salad yesterday when we went to our auction day, which was for charity. So it included a free breakfast and lunch. I said no to the croissants at breakfast, but for lunch, it was a salmon and chicken salad, and there was a couple of new potatoes in there. So mentally, why do you think I can't say no to free food? Because that's a block that I've got a little.
Well, it's probably generational trauma. You're a northerner. You can't say no to free food in case it doesn't turn up again. I would, all joking aside, there's so much to weight loss, so much psychology in it. There's so much emotional factors, environmental factors, deep down psychological factors from your childhood. It's one of those things where if you've just had a couple of potatoes and a salad, it's not going to massively interrupt your weight loss. It's more just you've been carbohydrate conscious that day. So if I was sitting with you watching you, I'd say, hey, that was a pretty good bunch of choices you made there, because you could have had a pain au chocolat, you could have had a croissant. Instead you went for this. That is carbohydrate conscious.
Thank you. I'll take that as a sort of compliment. Now, last week,
it's little tiny like improvements. So there's this book called Atomic Habits by James Clear, where he talks about if you were flying a plane from, I don't know, I think he was talking about flying a plane from LA to New York, but you just turned that plane 1 degree before it took off, ever so slightly, nobody would really notice 1 degree. But when you've flown really far, you'd be in completely the wrong place. So you'd end up in completely the wrong country if you turned it 1 degree the wrong way. And that's kind of what you're doing. You're making these tiny 1 degree improvements, but every day. So you hardly notice them, but within a year they stack up to something incredible.
Yeah. Which is that limbo line. Now, last week you were trying to help me get my metabolism up with cold showers, and every day I have been having a cold shower, getting a little bit colder every day, like you advised. And as you've probably seen as well, it has caused my blood sugar to go up in a good way.
Mm-hmm. That's great. Are you feeling like you're getting used to these things now?
I am, and one of my secrets is if you turn my washing machine on at the same time as having a shower, it automatically goes hot and cold. So that so that's one way I found out I have to have a cold shower by just turning on the washing machine. But it wasn't really that bad, I must say.
Right. So for what I've done with people who are like, look, I really want to try this cold shower thing. I've always said, just you have to, if you're going to do this cold shower thing, it's a bit shocking. You have to concentrate on one thing, and that's breathing. Because
Yeah,
if you only focus on breathing well, because that's the thing that kind of sends you into panic mode under a cold shower. If you focus on breathing, that's the thing that you have to master. And then eventually, after you've kind of mastered breathing, just focus on that one thing. The next thing is cleaning yourself.
yeah.
So once you get hold of breathing, practice that to start with, eventually you'll be able to have a cold shower and get clean. It's practice. Again, 1% every day.
Yeah. The other thing you asked me to do last week was to eat more protein. I went out the next day. I got myself some smoked salmon. I got myself the beef, all these protein things. And I think I did more protein. What do you think?
Yeah, it looks like you are, and I think the results. It's one of the things that you get all these other benefits when you start to eat the right amount of protein and fuel yourself more on protein. Is you start to notice these little things like your skin changes
Yeah.
and your level of energy changes. So it's these tiny things that you need to look for and check in with yourself. But you are a long-term weight loss expert, and I think what's really important is over the next few weeks, now that you're eating more protein, it's only been a week, see what happens in the next couple of weeks with how you feel, changes in your skin, changes in, you do a lot of exercise because of your work. How do you feel during that? Because the myth that's been sold to us all this time
Yeah.
is that you need to have carbohydrates to do the exercise.
Whereas
And
trying to lose weight, it's the opposite, isn't it?
there's a simple reason, right? There's such a thing as an essential protein, as essential as amino acid is what we call them. There's essential fats. You've heard about essential fats. That's why people take omega-3s, whatever.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as an essential carbohydrate. The reason being that your body can't manufacture those fats and proteins, but it can manufacture carbohydrates. It does it all the time for you. So while you run on carbohydrates, you can make them. You're a little carbohydrate factory, and you make it out of fat and protein, essentially.
So what is my challenge for this coming week? What's my new thing?
Carb conscious. I want you to be carb conscious. I want you to think about ratio of things like strawberries to yogurt. Fill up more on the yogurt than the strawberries. They're the ones that are, I mean, nature's sweets essentially. They're screaming at you to eat them. Yogurt, not so much. It's kind of sitting there looking bland uh, and decorative. So I want you to think about being conscious of, are you fueling yourself more with protein and wholesome food, or um, are you feeling yourself more with something that's really tasty and gives you a little kind of dopamine hit?
Do you want
How
me
how
to
much?
I was going to say, do you want me to have just like 100 grams or just make sure it's more protein than carbs?
I want you to work that one out yourself.
Okay.
It's a thing that what you need to do is you need to train your body. This is a learning experience for you, and for me, giving you a rule arbitrarily will be a highway to fail at it, right? What you need to do is you need to go through the process of having maybe doing the old Chanel approach, which was her approach to accessorizing was always take off the last thing you put on. So maybe you take that approach with the amount of strawberries or the amount of sugary things or carbohydrates. Yeah, always take out the last one you're about to put in, and then just see. You'll get used to it, but it's got to be small changes.
Yeah. Okay, great. Right, I'm up for the challenge then. Less carbs is this week's mission. Thank you very much. Anything else I need to be told off for this week?
I think you're doing phenomenally, Jody. I honestly, I at the rate you're going right now, I think you're cruising towards that beach picture. I think let's stay engaged with the carb consciousness. The grenade bars are like ancient history,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Um, seen one for a while.
I'm not missing them either, you know, the processed protein and stuff.
Right. Good. Well, hopefully you're replacing it with the decent whole food protein.
Yeah. Wonderful. Great. Thank you very much. I'll speak to you
Thanks.
next week.
See you in a week.